Hello, everyone, and welcome to all of those who are joining us on the other side of the screens. My name is Neus Miró, and I'm an art historian and curator based in Barcelona. And I'm really pleased to welcome to all of you to this third International Arco e-talk. Also like to take this chance to thank Arco for inviting me to lead these sessions and all the work and efforts that have put into these sessions. As you know, but for all you joining us for the first time, due to the COVID situation, Arco set up this series of e-talks that started last November to enable continuing to build up the community around this art fair and where we can meet and support each other virtually. Until we all can meet, hopefully, again in person, the art fair in Madrid that will take place from the 7th to the 11th of July. Each of these talks revolves around a topic concerning the art galleries, the artists, their current situation, and their future plans. The title for today's talk is International versus Local. The reasoning behind this talk and its relevance comes out for the previous talks, and it will reflect on the pre-COVID situation, the current situation, and what might be we can expect in the post-COVID scenario. We may agree that the dichotomy between international and local is a constructed one, since any collector and any artist, any gallerist comes from a place. So everything starts in a local situation. However, we may agree that once an artist starts showing abroad, outside the original place, we start talking about international artists, international galleries, international curators. For becoming this international, it goes throughout a process where globalization, which is another term we can reflect on later, is taking place. There's a number of factors and agents that help out and become essential and key to become international, which among those are galleries, art magazines, art critics, curators, exhibitions, institutions. During the 90s and 2000, an increasing number of biennales and art fairs as well contributed hugely to this internationalization of artists and collectors. Today, we shall address the commercial art gallery, the gallerist, as a key agent in this internationalization process of the artist, its importance and the challenge of their task moving forward, and given the restrictions in movement that we may face in the near future and nowadays. Today we have with us to discuss these issues three gallerists who I'm delighted to introduce briefly. Cristina Guerra, Contemporary Art in Lisbon, was officially inaugurated in March 2001. It's run by Cristina Guerra, who is joining us today. And the gallery predominantly focuses on the conceptual work of contemporary artists. The gallery is also organizing exhibitions and invites foreign guest curators to conceive platforms of exchange, discussion, and different types of performances. Vera Cortês runs Galería Vera Cortês, which was founded by her in 2006 in Lisbon, in Portugal. It was initially an agency devoted to the development of specific projects by emerging artists, and that period was run from the 2003 until 2006. Vera Cortês decided to then expand the program and became a gallery in order to create more opportunities for the artists. And she represents both national and international artists, which now we'll come to describe and define. And third is with us Sabrina Amrani, who opened her gallery in Madrid, in Spain, in June 2011. The gallery represents artists across East and West, and her aim is erasing those kind of cultural gaps and promoting a dialogue between different kinds of cultures. Although the gallery represents emerging and established artists of any nationality, the project pays particular attention to the new voices that are emerging in the global south. In 2019, the gallery, Sabrina, opened a second space, a second venue in the area of Carabanchel in Madrid. As per the structure of the session, we're going to start with a brief presentation by each of you, just addressing the topic that we are concerned with today. And after that individual presentation, we will start the debate with questions. For those who are on the other side of the screens, please address any comments, any questions during the talk, and we'll collect them and address to the panelists at the very end of the talk. So for the first presentation, we're going to have now Cristina Guerra. It's up to you. Thank you.
Now, I think that you want to ask me that how I reach some local and international artists. Then I used to work before to have the gallery in other galleries, and including I contribute to a cultural center in Cascais. Then I know a lot of artists, even abroad. Since the beginning, then I was the director of Quadrum, then from other galleries, and I learned a lot. And in 2001, I suppose then probably is the time to open my gallery, and was like this. I used to work with some local artists, as you told it, and Portuguese artists. And I chose some international artists too. Then was Lawrence Wiener, that I really know him, Matt Mulligan, and others. And the idea is to do one thing that with Portuguese artists are not very expensive. And to run this kind of gallery that I want to do, that I want to be in the art fairs, international art fairs. Even since the beginning, I want to be in Basel. And for this, I need money. And to have the money, I need to have very expensive artists. Then was for this that I began with Lawrence Wiener, with Matt Mulligan. It's not really very expensive, but it's okay because Portuguese artists are really, really not expensive. And then I invited them and they say yes, they understand what I want to do. After was Baldissari, that was really good, and was him that wants to work with me. And Julian Sarmiento, they are really the international artists with whom I began to work. And it's more or less then I can make money with this kind of big international artists, and to put the money in the young artists from not only from Portugal but from abroad too. I'm a little bit I like to work with conceptual art, as you said, and it's not very easy. People need to understand art and to study a little bit. It's not very decorative. And then was like this, and until now it's not bad. It's not very easy, but I'm doing, as you know. That's what I have to say. And do you want to know more things?
Now we can move into the next presentation by Cristina, and then we'll open to the debate.
Okay, then.
And then Cristina. Yeah, Vera Cortês, it's over to you to just do a brief presentation on that topic, or what your position is about it.
Okay, hello everyone. Thank you for the invitation. I think for me, the most important, of course, this is a discussion that always exists, but right now it's very pertinent because we are in a world without boats. In a way, we cannot travel. It's like earth and sea, but we cannot move as we were used to. But for me, I still want to believe, and I believe, but in sometimes there are doubts about the time this will take and so on. I really think that what we are living is temporary. The world is not going to be without boats for long, or how it was before globalization and so on. But of course, these kind of things have impact on people's life, in people's behavior and so on. But as history have taught us, we usually make it better, not worse. So I'm not a person that is negative about this, although it's really difficult, it's really hard, and even personally, because our lives are not like this, so we are not, we don't deal with this very easily. Passing this point that it's temporary, that it's, I think for me, it's very important to believe and that we think about it. Following a little bit your structure now about the questions, I would say, first of all, that I believe in artists. First of all, it's the most important is the artist. The work and the geographical location of the artist, it's not a relevant thing, although if you are more close or more far away, the relation you can get with the artist is super important. But an artist is an artist, it doesn't matter where he's from, can get us technicalities, transports, insurance, customs, but it's the artist that counts, and the rest, it's daily life in a way. After that, and following again your script, we are living these challenging moments, but we are super lucky that we are living in a digital area. So we managed to have platforms, online art fairs, OVRs, other platforms like Red Collectors in Madrid, artists and so on. So in a way, we didn't got completely isolated in a way, even if we, before that, in a different way, PDFs, website, and so on, we could contact with the collectors even when we were not in the country or they were not visiting it, or in art fairs that were, it's a meeting point that it's super important, not just artists, collectors, but even between us gallerists. Because sometimes it's the only moment that we have time to have lunch, dinner, talk about our things. And it's really, really important, that meeting points of the art fairs. Concerning the exhibitions, the program of the gallery and so on, the thing is that the artists that we represent are the artists that we represent, and the gallery's program, I don't believe that they will change in the future, although last year I postponed the exhibitions of the foreign artists because I didn't know if they could travel or if I could transport the artworks. So they were postponed for this year, but it's again temporary. Concerning the collectors, I think we have an heritage of the relation that we have with them. And again, that it's not lost in 1 year or 1 year and a half. And I think this moment somehow made us understand or made us very clear that the personal aspect of our lives with artists or with collectors, it's even more important. So we are not on the arrow just of the telephone, and we have several medias to contact and be in contact with. With new collectors, again, is the platforms that we can contact them and they reach us. For me, for instance, in this issue is a little bit this idea of the platforms having everything, price, everything, the button buy now. I still prefer to have an email and start a conversation with someone, because in the end, I can understand what do you say, the aspects that people defend that should be everything on and just a button buy. Mm-hmm. But for me, collectors are heart keepers. They are keepers of the works of my artists, and so I would like to know a little bit about them, be able to say hi, and so on. And this idea of it's internet, so everything has to be super clear. Maybe in a few years I will be like that, but I will try to struggle a little bit about that. And there is the middle term of having the average price and not the buy now. But this is a learning somehow. Now we are doing new websites, OVRs, this and that. So everything is a learning. But I think it's a learning, not much than that. Like I said, concerning art fairs, I think they are super important to us, not only because of the idea of the internationalization, but as a meeting point, as a week that we can see different things, meet people, different people, and people that we know that sometimes is not possible. But of course, they are now, it's difficult. We manage to do them online, or if they are not possible in the proper year or dates. But I don't believe that art fairs will disappear. Again, it's an adjustment to what will be our future, or the way of people to deal with big events. But it's like when art fairs started to make Freeze New York, Freeze London, Freeze New York, Freeze LA, FIAC, this, and so on. It was an experiment. Some of them have worked, some didn't, but I don't think it's a problem. In the end, for the artists, I think really nothing changes dramatically. Okay, they cannot travel. Some of them are passing this weird, super weird experience of setting up shows on Skype or Zoom and not being there to celebrate with the persons and so on. But they have their connections, they have residencies, they have prices, there still exist museums and collections. And I don't think because there is this problem now that a collector that follows an artist and is interested in a kind of art will not be anymore because he cannot travel as usual. So I think it's this, and then I will wait for your questions.
Yes.
Not to be too long.
No. Thank you very much, Vera. And we'll go to the next presentation, which should be by Sabrina. Sabrina, are you?
Neus?
Right. Yes.
Okay.
I think Sabrina right now has some issues with the computer, but we'll recover as soon as possible her connection. So we'll continue with her presentation, which will be about her gallery, which just opened a few years ago in Madrid, and a second venue outside, outside the center of Madrid, in Carabanchel. So we just waiting for her to reconnect. I think also a reminder for all of you that are on the other side. Just a reminder for you to address any questions or comments during the talk. Don't wait until the end of the presentations or questions, so you can address your questions during the talk, and I will pick them up and address to the panelists. There's one question for all of you. If is coming from Fatima Mota, and it's a question that addresses the digital platforms and relates digital platforms with art fairs. It reads, do you think that digital platforms will replace now and in the near future the art fairs such as Arco or Art Basel? Perhaps Christina, you'd like to address this question?
Then one thing that I need to tell you, I believe that all these things in Zoom and in the sites and everything like this is not the same to see really the thing. Then for me, it's very important the art fairs. The art fairs need to be not so expensive than until today, because I think that people are not going to everywhere as they did before, but we need to go. And for me, we have a problem in Iberia. It's not in Portugal or in Spain, it's Iberia, that we need to invite more people and more curators and more directors to come to Spain and Portugal. Because we have really, it's not to be in the fairs, because if we have really international artists, we can be there, and to have some local artists. But for me, I have not the same, I don't agree with Vera, because for me, the Portuguese and the Spanish artists are really, because they don't know them. They are not in the auctions. A lot of people are always in the auctions. And there are no Portuguese artists and no Portuguese Spanish artists in this kind of things, because they don't go there. They don't want them there, because we don't have people that can buy them. And then auctions don't accept this kind of Portuguese or Spanish or something. Probably we need to go more times abroad, because the thing is the center of Europe and America until now is the same. Okay, we have the Orient, but is not. They are not really there yet, because we are in a global world. It's true, but there are really a problem. We are between Africa and the north of Europe. And people don't come here, because to come here, it's one day to come to Portugal or to go to Madrid. And normally people from Paris, they are in Switzerland, or they are not in Berlin. It's for this that probably Berlin is not so easy too. But the center of Europe is the center of Europe, and it's really easy to go. And people don't want to come. That's it. That they can come because they like to go to Madrid or to go to the south. But they come to the south not really to see an artist. And we need some, I don't know, you need to think a little bit about this, because we need to put them out of Iberia. I don't say then Portugal or Spain, it's Iberia. We need to put them in the center. And we need to think about this. Then you have this Reina Sofia, but MACBA is not working very well. After you have SEGAC, but it's not working very well too. Here we have Serralves and then Berard, but we really don't have really a museum. Then we have a lot of people here from abroad. They want to see Portuguese art. They need to go to the galleries, because we don't, they can see anywhere. Then I have artists then now that are very known, but in 10 years there are another we are going to have other artists, and these that we sell now, they disappear.
Yes.
We have this problem here. Then you have two, not with Reina Sofia, because it's really a power museum, but here no one can see artists. They can go to Gulbenkian, and probably then now we have Benjamin, we'll see what he's going to do. Serralves, they have always temporary exhibitions, and then we need to think really about this thing. That for me is very important.
Thank you, Cristina.
I can go to a fair, I can show Portuguese artists or Spanish artists or something like this, but at the end, people are going to see them only twice or something like this. After they disappear, only the next year.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Thank you, Cristina. Thank you so much for that. That sincere statement. We're gonna now think we've got Sabrina back. Yes.
Hi.
Hello. That's
hello.
That's hello. So do you have presentation, right? I think. So please, over to you.
Well, thank you very much, first of all, for the invitation, and sorry for the disruption, technological problem. So thank you very much, in fact, for this very nice topic about international and local, what it means. And as Vera said, it's a very good question. I mean, at the beginning, and something that I'm also always thinking a lot, especially being a gallerist. So my gallery focus on Global South, and it's in a way maybe a displaced program, as I am myself a displaced person. When I opened the gallery 10 years ago, I arrived in Madrid, and I had absolute no audience for the program that I started, which was really starting with North African artists, Middle Eastern artists, South Asian artists. And I think now with some experience, I can say and realize that all markets are first local. As you were saying, Neus, at the beginning, that each person, everybody starts being local. And the markets, they start also being local. So for us, being in Madrid, but with a program that were not addressing directly the Spanish audience, we had very quickly, and in our DNA, the idea of being international, and being international just for the gallery and for our artists to live. So the strategy at the beginning had two pillars. The first one was digital, because we needed to reach that audience. So basically, I mean, I remember literally sending tweets 10 years ago, I mean, on Twitter, to reach with the museum director, the curator in Dubai or in Hong Kong. And it was quite efficient, in fact, I have to say. It was a nice way to start. And the second pillar, of course, was the art fair. And I missed a bit of the conversation, so I'm not sure if you already talked about it. But after 3 months, we opened, and after 3 months, we were already in the first art fair abroad, and a few months after, our first fair in Spain. I think also that for me, internationalizing the gallery was not possible without the idea of building a network, which is also something that either the institutional network or a commercial network that the art fair allows. But we put a lot of emphasis on having our artists contextualized, and contextualized with other artists in institutions. So for us, it has been very key, and also to make our program travel in a way, and to make this connection about. So coming back to the fair as a major tool to grow and meet collectors, there was also for us in this process of internationalization a very simple limitation. And I'm not talking about the financial limitation of participating to art fairs, but really how much fairs can a small or a middle gallery attend in a year. So at some point, we got to do 12 art fairs in a year, which is insane. I will never do it again, but it's the reality. We got to do 12 art fairs in a year, and being a young and small gallery with literally 3 people working in the gallery at the beginning. Wow. So as this space was very too high for us, and for me as a mother also, we started to rethink the business and not the business, but the strategy. And we said, finally, we should really think about being more online, having a stronger presence online, and decrease maybe our physical presence. And this is something that we've been working on since the last 5 years now. This idea of not jumping from one place to another and to working online. So with this idea of working online, I mean, there is many platforms. So we were working with Artsy, and we still, in fact, since the beginning of Artsy, we work with them, with Ocula, Artland, Delhi Art Fair. There are many platforms, but these platforms are commercial platforms. So as I think it's Vera or Christina that was saying, my job is, I don't like the idea of putting a piece and a button and someone buys it. And I agree with that. This is something also that we lack within this platform. So we started to think in 2017 how we could offer an experience. And right at this moment, again, it's just, I think, luck or the universe. Right at this moment, the technology to do 3D scanning of your exhibition started to be affordable. So it was really luck. So it was in front of us, and we said, okay, so we're going to start to do a 3D documentation of our exhibitions. And then, again, with the same idea, because also I have to say that we wanted to cut short the distance with our collectors, thinking that we are representing these artists from Global South, that we were totally new here and no audience, so we had to build this audience. So we wanted to reach our audience, our public, our specialized public, if I can say. So then, going with the same tendency to find the new ways to work, we wanted to recreate this aspect of conversation and we are not just only displaying art. There is a story behind. There is an artist behind, and that's where during the year of 2019 we started to work on the online viewing room. So I will go very quick, but we were very lucky that during the year of 2019, we were building our tools. And on January 2020, we were already participating and launching our online viewing room. And for us, the first one we did was with Taipei Dangdai, and the second one was about Arco Madrid. And the idea for us of the online viewing room was to go deeper into the conversation. And also we wanted not all my collectors, not all the audience, which is not only collectors, the audience of the gallery, not all the audience of the gallery could and can attend a fair in Taipei or a fair in Madrid. So the idea was really to expand the information on the presentation, discover more about the artist, discover more about the pieces with video interviews, and it was a lot of digital content. So going again, so we had the chance to do several of VR, and then the current situation that we have all been into, so the pandemic starts, and we have been keeping this idea of being international and how to work locally with the impossibility of moving, but reaching internationally. And that's where we kept working very fast and without thinking. We just worked. As our artists, we couldn't stop with the situation. So we launched Geometria Popular on March. On April, we did our first show from home with Joël, with artworks made from home. And we invited a curator then to curate a group show, Christian Viveros Faune, an online show. We organized group shows inviting artists that I would never had really the time and the opportunity to invite in the physical space. So suddenly we had these huge possibilities to explore the world, not only with collectors, but also with artists. And we did online openings, virtual studio visits right from the beginning, virtual exhibition of physical exhibition that we installed in the gallery. So we connected literally, we keep doing physical work and trying to put it online, and panels with collectors, etc. So that's the way we have been internationalizing even before this situation, but because again, for us, it was a necessity from the place where the gallery is, and also from the program that we have in Sabrina Amrani.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sabrina, for your presentation. Thank you. We're going to go now to start the debate with everything you've mentioned along your presentations, which is there's been quite a few things, and I do thank you for your honesty, because there are quite a few things that I think they're quite remarkable. I'd like you, for instance, Christina has addressed this idea that, put it very simply, international artists have different prices than local artists, considering local as a Spanish and Portuguese, because we're now here, right? So, and how that selling of international artists can be reinvested into local artists. Has that changed recently, or is something that is still there? And it's a question that I'd like for you to share, all of you. I mean, is that a situation that you also perceive from Sabrina and Vera, that in this part of the map, we need this recognized, right, very solid and very consolidated artists to actually help out the local artists? It's something, that's a kind of feedback. Is that still the case, for instance, Christina, now?
Christina and I have usually a disagreement on that, although I completely agree with her that be in front of an artwork, there's nothing that can change. No OVR, no website, the more spectacular web possible that can change that experience, and that is for sure. And like I said, I believe we will go back to that. Mm-hmm. But I have the history of my project is completely different. Now I have more important artists than I had in the beginning. So I believe, of course, it's easier if you have somebody that gives the name and somehow legitimize what you are doing, but it doesn't necessarily legitimize the others. So I think that work is a long time work, and it has to do with the artist itself and the work. Of course, if a gallery is very powerful, if is in a country that has a lot of museums, it has more attention. All these elements of the equation counts, but I think maybe the process is slower, but I don't think it has to be definitely, or it's the only way. I don't believe that. And as I don't, it's not for me, as my experience, of course, because I can talk about my experience, but I don't think that it's completely true that foreign artists are more expensive than local artists. The price of the artist depends on a lot of factors, but mainly on the curriculum, collections, and so on. And in our days, something that it's part of the game, it's the world we live in, and it's part of the system of the art world, and it's called auctions. But that I really think is temporary. And there is a lot of stories that came wrong. It's momentarily and it has to do with a lot of things. But these are very challenging times. We need a lot of resilience. And with that, if we keep on believing what we believe, that it's working with the artists and believing in the artists and what we are doing, it can take longer, could be less expensive or more, but we will achieve it more than anything else.
Sabrina, perhaps?
Well, I guess it's the part that I missed when I got my technological problem. So I'm not sure I understood the question. I mean, the debate is about if an international artist and a local artist can have the same market value.
That's right, and how those fit each other in terms of how can actually. I mean, Christina is not the only case. Many galleries have a few international artists, so they can help out the local artists to be in that position, but also to invest in them, right? Because they don't sell as in the same prices as in the market as the international artists.
Yes, I do believe. I do believe, in fact, that there is that the market value of an artist is affected from if he's a local artist or an international artist. And in fact, I have seen the opposite around. Some markets, which is not the case of the Iberic market, but some markets where artists have a very high value that if you would compare it with other artists from other regions, you would not understand. And I'm thinking of Australia, for example, which is a very big continent itself, which is again the opposite. And I do believe that there is an effect of communicating glasses. Sorry, it's a French expression. That we absolutely need, in fact, the diversity. And I do believe that in a local market, we absolutely need the presence of international artists that can help, and international artists that will bring also international collectors, that will bring different conversations or different players into the conversation. And I think also that maybe for me, the great benefit of a fair like Arco Madrid or Arco Lisboa, that also allow and gather these international players. Again, I'm not sure if it's the right term, because this is what we are discussing now. But I do believe that the mixture and that international artists are necessary to help grow in a way. And I'm talking about the market. I'm not talking about artistic value.
I agree with you, Sabrina, but now I'm going to answer a little bit about this kind of questions.
Yes.
Sure, we need some references in our galleries to have the attention of some collectors. It's for this that I like them too, but it's for this that I used to work with Lawrence, and then like this I can have the Portuguese artists. Normally I have Portuguese, because like this people can say then let us see what this gallery have, because if she has there Lawrence and Julian and Matt Malik, and then we'll see what is going there. And was a little bit like this that I began to go to the international market. But now I'm a little bit, what I think in Portugal or even in Spain, then the value of an artist normally is because the curriculum. And if we have an artist, Spanish or Portuguese in a museum, and we have good artists, to export them to another museum is really difficult, really, really difficult. Then to increase the price or the value commercially, we need to put them in the museums. And like this, we can put a little bit higher the prices then, and you can go to make money and to go to international fairs and things like this. And it's really, really difficult. And is this that I think that we need to change something, because the art fair in Madrid is Madrid, and is more or less then like Portugal. Then we are here. Then for me, Madrid or Lisbon, okay, we have to balance the thing. But Madrid is the fair in Iberia. Lisbon is another thing, but it's not enough. And we need to think a little bit, how can we do something different? Then we have really great artists that Tapias and things that are international, really international, but young artists, what did you do? Nothing. And we hear the same to us. It's really difficult to put them out. And if we put them out after, normally they come to the country another time because they need to have a gallery outside. Then what we need to pay then? Transports, insurance, everything. And at the end, the good galleries don't want to do exhibitions because they don't make money with these artists, because it's they need to work them. It's more or less than if I want a Polish artist and he's local. I like very much the artist, but I think then he's only in Poland, then I like very much, but I don't want to do it. I have the Portuguese too. You understand what I mean? Then we need to do something together, I think, because we have this problem. We have really this problem. We need to put artists out, and it's not easy. It's not easy. I'm doing this Basel and other fairs because you did 12 fairs. I don't know, but I did some years 9 fairs, long time ago, 10 years or 15 years ago. And the thing is like this: you are in the fairs, people can see the artists there, they can buy, but after it's very difficult to put them out. That's the point. And then you can't increase the values, because they need to do museums to show in the international museums outside of Spain or Portugal, and it's really difficult.
So for what you're saying, what I deduce is that the museum is a key factor to in that process to internationalize a local artist. So is that or some, it's just it doesn't still, because a few years ago
it's not unique thing. It's then curators, museums, because it's like this. Then if people know can come, as for this that I invite sometimes curators from abroad. They come, they need to put some artists, they need to study artists that I'm working, Portuguese artists or not, and they can invite other artists. And we need to do more and more this, because it's not only museums, but there are another spaces that they need to go, because people need to know them and to study a little bit about these artists, to know them is this. And we need to show them.
Yeah.
And the other thing is the auctions. Then I don't like auctions, but the thing is like this, a lot of people, they study art because they see the thing. Then I'm always in the fairs. If I put some artists in the auctions, then they can appear more times than only in Madrid or in Basel or somewhere. And after in an exhibition, 2 in 2 years or 3 in 3 years at the gallery. And we have the other problem that we don't have museums here. It's very then only temporary exhibitions. We don't have really people can see artists here. And if you want to see Portuguese artists, or never mind, but this case here is Portuguese artists, you need to go to the galleries.
Can I
just yeah, sure. Vera, was it?
Yes,
Yeah,
I
okay.
just want to add, it's not agreeing or disagreeing, but adding to what Christina was saying, that I think we work with the artists. It's not we do this or that to the artists. And in our days, we live in a moment that the artists themselves, with residencies, with going to work abroad sometimes, to meet collectors, to meet curators, to be invited to be analysts, to group shows and so on. For me, I really don't believe that it's impossible to a Iberian artist to be international if it's not expensive. Actually, I believe it's more easy to get international with a lower price because they don't know him so well yet, and still it's not as expensive as an artist that is very well known. But it's the idea of working with, and this old or romantic idea that the artist doesn't leave the studio. In a way, of course, the artists are in the studio, and there are tasks that belongs to a gallery and others to an artist, of course, but it's a process. So we can help them and they can help us. And I don't see it, I don't know the idea of Sabrina, but I don't see it as we are stuck here in Iberia, and it's super difficult because I have artists going everywhere and artists that I represent that come from different places. And of course, it's different for an artist in the beginning being shown in Portugal. It takes more time than an artist that people knows, but I think this is part of life, and almost in all aspects of our lives, we need to know a little bit before we are fine with it or comfortable. I don't know what Sabrina thinks about this.
Well, I don't know. It's not easy to talk about. I mean, to define what is an international artist, first of all, and I feel that there is different ways to talk about how an artist become international and how an artist is international. I think that on one hand there is this idea of the artist being everywhere, but also, I mean, because I work with artists that have been underrepresented, I mean, Global South artists. I think that the label of international artist, as it is commonly used, it's more when the artist has a kind of, when he uses a global language, which is something that has much more to do with the globalization. So, because I do have artists that works everywhere, but they are still labeled African artist or Cuban artist. I mean, so that's the apportation I can do right now on the topic.
Yes, I'd like to just pick up some questions from our audience. There's
I'm
one
going
here.
to tell you one thing. For me, an international artist is an artist that has circulation.
Right.
Not to be only local, but internationally. Can go to France, to States, to Brazil. Then there are in some way, he can go out
anywhere
and to be known. And we don't have this kind of artists. Even the Portuguese that are internationally more or less, only Julião and Cabrita Reis, they really are international. No more. And if I'm asking you about Spain, I think the same. And we have really good artists, but it's really difficult to put them out. That's the point.
So I'll address one of the questions to all of you from the audience that reads as follows. Due to the pandemic and the digital hyperconnectivity, in the last year, we have seen a rise in terms of collaborations between agents within the market in order to join forces and find synergies for specific projects. Do you think either locally or globally, the international gallery model will expand? So the strategy will include more collaborations, partnerships with other agents, such as independent organizations, private companies, or even between galleries themselves. So how these connections can actually help, this in different size, right? Galleries with independent organizations can actually help or not. This kind of internationalization of the artists. Do you want to answer, Sabrina?
Sorry, can you rephrase the question?
Yes. Do you think either locally or globally, the traditional gallery model will expand, so in the near future, right? So the strategy may include more collaborations and partnerships with other agents, say independent organizations, private companies. So in what direction you think the gallery model may expand in order to become or help out artists to become more international?
Well, I think it has already changed, I would say, in Europe, even 10 years ago, 15 years ago, where already galleries started to gather in association, within association of galleries, created gallery weekends, and there was already this problematic of being more present and to push. I mean, at least I can speak for Madrid, to push forward the Spanish art scene in a way. But it's true that also, again, with the current situation, there has been some barriers that have fallen. We have seen galleries collaborating with auction houses. I mean, this kind of synergies or collaboration, not synergies, that would have never happened, I think, or I have never seen before that moment. So, but I think also it's a phenomenon that is not only related to the art world. We are literally living in a moment of community, this idea of community and optimizing and doing things together. And so I think it's, in order to respond to the artist and as Christina was saying, she was saying what we can do all together. What should we do? I mean, it's literally the question she has put on the table.
Okay, so we are now very close to the end of the session, and I'd like just to address a very general question for all of you, and to thank you your participation as well. But as a last question, I would like you to address the following: what do you expect from ARCO Art Fair to help you with your artists in international level? That's a wish list. That's your wish list. So think about it.
Should I go first?
Yeah, sure.
So what I expect from ARCO, I mean, in general, what we can all expect from a fair, it's many contacts, many institutions, curators, collectors, to have great sales and to have great conversations. And because I really agree with Vera in one thing, that art, it's really about the conversation that there is around. And the art fairs are a great meeting place to talk and share, and also between gallerists. So that's my wish, and we cannot ask more, I think.
I think really the same, but we need to do more. That's what I think. The art fairs is a good thing. It's funny that we do them, but we need to do more things and to think a little bit more about this question, because it's really very important. Even to have collectors here in Madrid, in Lisbon, because Madrid is really, for me, is really a very good fair. But we need to do more. I don't know what we need to think about, because we need more. That's my point of view.
And Vera?
After all that it was said, and it's true, I think the challenge for this year is to be able that people feel comfortable to go, and we can complete all these wishes that are the ones that Sabrina told, that the regular wishes, or a fair is successful or not with these points, doesn't mean that they are all equal, because sometimes we make a lot of contacts and sell less, and then we sell after. So it's not a full equation, 1 + 1. But I think the challenge that we all need to build with ARCO is to be able that it happens, and it happens in conditions that we can have those people that are important there. And of course, this is not about us and what we can do, but it's the world we live in. But I believe ARCO team will be able to do it for sure. And it's a very important art fair for of course, for us panel here, Portuguese and Spanish, but for a lot of galleries, Latin American, even European or American. And I believe really, after that, I don't know when it will be. If I did, I will be very happy, but I can't. But after this calms down, I think people will be super happy to do things, to go and visit and be able, so we can take advantage of all that energy and desire after all this lockdown.
Okay, thank you so much, Vera. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Christina. Thank you, Sabrina. It's been great to share this session with you. Thank you so much for your generosity and to participate in this session. And I hope to see you all in July.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you
very much.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.